Happy Thursday. It's another great day with Mindology. No, that's my other group. How about personal development in the PM? High five to all of you all that have joined us on this special night, a special occasion, because we want to really start delving into the mind and what we're going to do. So tonight, spinning topic will be presented by our mompreneur, our very own Kelly Chieson. Kelly, please take it away.
Oh, take it away. Okay. Well, in the post, you'll see that you are where change begins. So I like this. This is Lester inspired. And I like the idea of we are where change begins, because when I saw that, that was Lester threw that out there with his "Your health is your wealth" high-fiving action this morning. And I love it because for me, it ties into really recognizing that we are exactly where we are meant to be. It is up to us to learn what we need to learn and do what we need to do so that we can graduate from our current situation and experience onto something new. You know, the idea of failing forward. We need to do this. People need to do this. Like, we need to embrace it. We need to just be like, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. Because it's not about attaining a goal, but who we become in the process of the pursuit of our goals. So, we are, change begins with us, where we are, who we are, and knowing that we are exactly where we're meant to be. But we need to make, decisions. Sometimes life hands us complicated cards. I would say that could be an understatement given the current COVID environment, especially here in Ontario with some recent release of information and facts. So it's, some people can say, oh, we're at the wrong place at the wrong time. But how we choose to experience that is entirely up to us. So I like this. I like the idea that change begins with us. And yeah, I love it. We are, I don't know. I like this. I like this topic of conversation. And I kicked us off. So now I'm going to kick it. I'm going to kick it right over to you, Lester.
Me?
Since it was Lester inspired, consider that a chest pass.
No. Am I frozen? That's the...
No, we can hear you.
It's funny when we are looking. Okay, it's funny when we're looking to be the change, but we're not quite sure what that is. If you have a problem with anything, doesn't matter what the problem is, why are you looking at the problem instead of the solution? Become the solution and you become the change. People will always stand up in front of many of people. They will stand on top of their soapboxes. Remember in the early 1800s, 1900s, when you would look back at the theater of the time, and they will always be standing up on the box. And they would say things and say it. They would scream out to anybody that would hear, but they only told you about the problem. They never gave you a way to say, what is the solution to this particular problem? People who are the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the round pegs in the square holes, they are the ones who will make the change. Why do they want to change? Because talking about it over and over again means that you're wasting time. Time is the only thing that you cannot get back. Do you realize how often that you would love to turn around and talk about how much time will it take me to do something special? How much time will it do? But as you're thinking of the questions, what are your actions? What are you doing? What is your belief in that you can find a solution to a problem? Once they had this president in the United States, I'll call him President Kennedy. He said, ask not what you can do for the country, or excuse me, what the country can do, ask what can you do for the country? Meaning that he needed a solution to a problem that they were having. America was one of the first countries, or actually the first country that put a rocket ship onto the moon. They didn't sit there and look at what would happen if we didn't have enough fuel or such and such. They kept building the ship and building the ship until there was a solution that I can get it up here. Where are you in your thought pattern? Are you still problem solving, or are you solution orientated?
Samantha.
Well, here's the thing. You know, you talk about problem solving or solution oriented. I like that. But sometimes people don't even know what the problem is. Let's face it. You know, we don't realize that something that we're doing is an issue at all until people are like, hey, are your eyes open or are your eyes closed? Or did you choose to go that way regardless of people telling you? So we have a few issues here. And it's true. We have, you know, the change does start with me. Change starts with me. Change starts within each of us. And we have to be willing to change, or we could just be stubborn and continue going backwards, keep looking on that rear view mirror. But I think that the better question is, you know, why are you stubborn if change is good? Why would you not go forward? If you don't make a change, you just stand in one spot, don't go anywhere. So change for ourselves. Don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of the unknown. Don't put those obstacles in your way to level up. Think about, visualize, embrace what could be. That's the way I see it. You never know what tomorrow is going to hold. And it's true. Time wasting, you'll never get it back. Right? So instead of sitting there and looking at all your friends and family and all the people in the world that are all successful and saying, what the heck, how come I can't do that? Well, maybe you should have looked at yourself in the mirror. And I'm always that person that brings up this negative stuff. But you know what? It sucks, but it's the truth. And I always say it to people that tell me, oh, Samantha, you know, you're so far in your life. No, I'm only as far as I'd like to be, and I want to continue to be. And the only reason someone else thinks that is because they don't want to take any steps forward. They are content with their situation. And that's why I like this topic. Change starts with me. Change starts with you. It's not me to tell you, and it's not me to kick you. Although sometimes a good virtual kick in the behind does help. Lester gives it to me sometimes. Why the heck not? But it's the truth. You know, we have to take accountability for us. And that's the biggest problem that I see right now, is that nobody wants to hold themselves accountable for why things are not going forward, why things are not going their way. Well, listen, you can complain and you can complain and you can complain. And soon people will start to turn you off. So it's your choice. Do you want to waste your time? Do you want to stand in one spot? Or do you want to be that person that holds yourself accountable, looks at yourself in the mirror and says, you know what? I'm not going forward, but why? Why? What is my why? How do I take that next step forward? Hold yourself accountable and stop taking criticism so negatively that it eats you inside. Take it as positive criticism and change. That's it. I know I'm very blunt and honest about stuff like this just because I've been through it, and all my mentors tell me the same thing. Samantha, you can only blame yourself. And don't blame yourself, but you can only say it to yourself. It's you. You're the reason nothing went forward.
That part
now
of that
I'm different. Now I'm different. But at that time,
yeah,
I was the reason, and I chose to make the change. And now I'm here.
But see, that can come into play a little bit with identity crisis, right? If we're not understanding how we play a role in that, is not having really identified where our ego comes into play, and not really discovering who we really are and what our identity really is. And so it's, you know, I don't know, it's my own 2 cents on that. But, you know, when you're saying that we have to look to ourselves, it's easy when you play the blame game and you have a million outside sources that are the cause for this, the cause for that. That's, we're not taking responsibility. And if we're not taking responsibility, there's an identity crisis there, because we're not seeing ourselves for who we really are and how we're showing up.
Mm. I like that how you said that, because it's a certain value in being the change. How valuable are you in any situation? I love, the current situation that's going on throughout this world. It had this funny thing called, it started somewhere and it went everywhere. So what did they do when they found out they started it? They had the conversation. Well, I think we have something that can kill off several million people. That's interesting. Wow. And they sat around and they sat around and they sat around. And then there was like, okay, let's sit around some more. At no point in time throughout all those people that they knew that got this thing started, that they say, I guess we should have made a solution to the problem. Maybe we should find a way to do this vaccine. That would have been the smartest question that you could have asked in less than the hours that it took you to make up the disease itself. But no, they waited a long time before they spread the word. They were not solution orientated, they were problem orientated. They thought it was only going to hurt a few people, 100,000 people, until it magnified and magnified some more, and then magnified some more. And then it was like, oh, well, what should I do here? When we want to see what the change is going to be, again, I will say it until, the rooftop, and I'm not even going to do it on my box. We're talking about it here. My soapbox has been put to the side because we're telling you, stop concentrating on the problem. You cannot be the change concentrating on the problem unless you're trying to come up with a solution. When Edward C. Barnes wanted to travel to see Napoleon, to see what is that guy's name? The electrician, the guy who brought the light. Oh, yeah, we know
Edison.
his name. Thomas. Yeah.
Edison.
Thomas Edison. When he wanted to see it, you imagine he was sitting on a porch on a rocking chair, and I'm going to go see him. He put his hand in his left pocket. There's no money. He put his hand in his right pocket. Said, there's no money. He checked around his whole body. He said, I'm still going to go see him, but he has no money. He had to be that solution-oriented person to say, what can I do to get from California to New Jersey? I can either walk, run, or find some other mode of transportation. When he made that decision of his mode of transportation, he didn't let the problem get in his way because he knew that he was going to get there. So he decided to take a train. Now, I'm not telling anybody to go out and hop on a train when you don't have any money. They call that being a stowaway, and you're thieving, and they have a nice little hotel for you that they promise you that they'll feed you 3 times a day quietly in this room, and you may have some company from time to time for several years. But he didn't.
No, thank you.
He didn't let the problem be what stood in his way. He looked at a solution of how to do it. There's so many stories within different readings. I don't care whether it's John Maxwell, whether it's Napoleon Hill, whether it's Wallace D. Watto, whether it's Tony Robbins, or whomever the next person is, because you may be the person that I'm talking to. So if you're the next person that's going to answer some of these things, tell me, how would you do it? Samantha, there's some comments. Will you read a comment or two, please? And let's talk on that. We would love to hear you, but we're not going to talk about,
Thank you. Yeah.
solution.
So I see here, well, the last comment I see here is from Angelo. High five, Angelo. And he's saying it's called jail. I kind of agree with you. It reminds me of that movie called The Room, I think it's called. But
Yes.
my gosh, nobody wants to be isolated in a place like that. It's terrible. The government, don't even get me on the topic of the government. That's for a different show. So Angela, we are capable, competent, and creative, but be careful. Be careful. Angela, I'd love to understand more about what you mean. I think I know what you mean, because if I was capable, I am, by the way, I am capable, competent, and creative, but I'm careful not to tell everybody my next move, because that's, if you read The Science of Getting Rich and Think and Grow Rich and The Laws of Success, and we can keep going, Dale Carnegie,
Show them first.
yeah, let's just keep going. All the different books, if you read them, you'll see in all of them, there's a similar theme that people that are successful don't necessarily tell you every single thing that they're going to be doing. They do it silently. So I think that's what you mean, but please expand for us. And Valerie, high five. Thanks for being here.
Hey, sister dear.
And she says, get up, get out, get started. Your goals matter. I love that. It's almost like a song. Get up, get out, get started. Yeah, like we should totally turn that into a song. And change starts with me. Love it. Change starts with me. Change starts with you. Off to you, Lester.
So what are we going to do? What would you have done if Thomas Edison did not turn on the lights?
Live in a cave.
What would you have done if Alexander Graham Bell didn't decide that he wanted to have communication throughout the world?
Carrier pigeon.
What would you have done if Steve
Wells
Jobs
Fargo horse.
didn't take the telephone in your house outside of your house, so that way you can use it? You remember there was a problem in having a computer. We take it for granted that we can always take this computer, our laptops, and move them around, and we can take it with us.
Yeah.
Our cell phones are, we can throw a whole computer system in our pockets. But yet, when they started, they used to take up full rooms, vacuums. They had to keep the rooms clean. What would you have done if these people didn't start trying to solve a problem? Every time you want to be the change, look at the problem and solve it. Everybody's not going to be able to solve the same problem the same way. I know 1 + 1 = 2. There are so many people who will give me an argument on that would say that that is not true. According to mathematicians, it isn't true. But for me to turn around and break the problem down for you, and I can, it would show you that's not quite true, but we don't need to break down anything that far. But what is it that that is a problem? For our health, we know we're supposed to exercise. We're supposed to get out there and exercise. Now, everybody say, well, what exercise do I do? Why would you answer a problem with another problem? What do I do? When you are hungry, the biggest problem most people ask when they're hungry is, what am I going to eat? Nobody wants to be a solution to that. They will stand in front of a refrigerator for hours with the doors open,
Hoping something's going to magically appear. That genie's not coming out.
The problem still exists.
You mean the options didn't somehow multiply? I don't understand. You know what? I'm going to come back here about 10 minutes from now. I bet that's the difference that it needed.
Oh my goodness. I mean, this is a fun topic because we know what we're supposed to do. And I don't want to ask the question, why don't we do something? Because that's a problem question. Don't know it, do it.
And then evaluate it, right? Like that's the other thing. It's not just find a solution, but identify the problem, identify the issue, create a solution, implement it, and then evaluate its effectiveness. So
isn't that what Glenn would say? Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
This is a great subject. I think, it's going to be amazing. Too bad we won't have this on tomorrow because tomorrow never shows up. And that's a problem for a lot of people because they're still waiting on tomorrow. But we're going to have another special, topic on Friday.
Yes.
if we forget, it's in Kelly's text messages. I want to tell the world, so we can all text her at the same time and say it's in your text message. So
Okay.
the final thoughts, Kelly.
Ooh, my final thoughts. Well, let's see. I don't know. My final thoughts. Why don't we go with every problem has a solution. You just got to get creative enough to find it.
Okay.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Okay.
Oh,
I-
and I'll throw
they're
this in here as a
Dialing
side-
in her head.
I'm-
Solution.
a solution, but I'm also going to throw this in there. A lot of times, very often, the problem isn't really the problem. It's the attitude that we have about the problem. And that attitude gets in the way of coming up with a solution. So I'll leave that right there.
There you go.
You just threw me off my game. I had one, but whoa. It's
As
so
long as you don't
true.
steal mine,
Right?
I'm good.
Yeah, but it's so true what you just said. It's true. We could all come to the room thinking that we're all on the same page. And then someone says something, there becomes an issue, and we all then perceive it. One person perceives it to be an issue, another one not so much. And then there, maybe two butt heads, right? It really matters how people are delivered the message or how they understand what really is the issue, if there actually is one, or are they creating one? So what I heard you say, that happens all the time in every situation when there's more than one person. And not really with myself when I'm having conversations with myself. That's why I was like, what? But anyways, moving on with my final thought, I was simply just going to say, you are where the change begins. You are, not Lester, not Kelly, not me. You are what can bring change for you. So that's my final thought, Lester.
Final thought is your attitude determines your altitude.
Ooh.
High five, everyone.
High five.